It's your lucky day. You were just handed a check for $500,000 and you have to spend it on a house in America. But as you're about to see, that money doesn't spend the same way it did 4 years ago. We are going to see 5 different spots where that check either buys you a luxury lifestyle or a rundown studio. Let's find out what $500,000 actually looks like in the United States today. To understand the extremes, we first have to understand the average. We are starting in Columbus, Ohio, which right now represents the dead center of the American housing market. This is the baseline. This is what normal looks like. In the Columbus suburbs, you will find Powell. It's a 31-minute drive to the Columbus city center, placing it firmly within commutable range. Here, you can find this, listed right at the finish line of your budget for $500,000. This is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home in the socio-reserve community. If we're talking about the baseline of the American dream, this is it. Built in 2001, you are getting over 2,200 square feet of finished space that feels substantial, not cramped. Walk through the front door and you're met with a 2-story foyer flooded with natural light. A grand entrance that immediately signals you aren't in a starter home anymore. To your left, you have a formal dining room complete with tray ceilings and custom woodwork, the kind of details that are often stripped out of modern new builds to save costs. But the real value here is the layout. The home features a first floor primary suite, meaning your main bedroom and its attached bath, complete with a whirlpool tub, are on the main level. Head upstairs and you see where your money stretches further in Ohio. You get a loft, 2 additional bedrooms, and a massive versatile bonus room that can serve as a 4th bedroom, a home office, or a playroom. Outside, you have a 2-car garage, a proper deck, and a green grassy yard that is actually big enough to use. It's clean, it's updated, and it's completely move-in ready. This house proves that in the center of the country, $500,000 still buys you a forever home with absolutely no compromises. Next, we move to the West Coast, to Los Angeles, California, and here the story changes completely. If Columbus represents the baseline, Los Angeles is the outlier. Trying to find a move-in ready single-family home in Los Angeles proper for under $500,000 is nearly impossible. In this price range, you are almost exclusively looking at condos with high HOA fees or properties in extreme despair. To find an actual house, 4 walls, a roof, and land that you own, we had to look south to Long Beach. And even here, $500,000 doesn't buy you space, it buys you efficiency. Listed at $494,000, this is a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom home that clocks in at exactly 524 square feet. To put that into perspective, the entire footprint of this house likely fits inside the garage of the Ohio home we just looked at. But here's the trade-off. This isn't a teardown, it's a lifestyle choice. Built in 1921, this home has been reimagined as a tiny home with coastal charm. At the end of the day, you have no shared walls and no HOA. You have a small private lot and you're minutes from the ocean. But the math is brutal. In Ohio, you paid nearly $225 per square foot for luxury. Here you are paying nearly $1,000 per square foot for the bare minimum. This is the reality of the coast. $500,000 gets you into the market, but it demands you live with less, a lot less. Now we move south again to what is supposedly one of the best markets in the nation. A growing city with a housing market that is more than fair considering the explosive job availability. This is Austin, Texas, but Austin is a big place. To get the most for your money, we are heading just 20 minutes east of downtown to the booming suburb of Manor. Here the trade-off isn't space, it's location. You drive a little further to get a house that feels brand new. The listing pushes our budget slightly at $515,000, but it perfectly illustrates the modern Texas standard. Built in 2021, this is a 4-bedroom, 3-bathroom home spanning nearly 2,500 square feet. Unlike the Ohio home, which felt traditional and established, this feels sleek and current. You have high ceilings, an open concept layout, and a chef's kitchen with quartz countertops and a massive center island. The details here are what separates it from the pack. We're talking about motorized shades in the windows, a dedicated office with French doors, and a covered back patio with a ceiling fan, crucial for those Texas summers. But the real selling point is the lifestyle. This home is in the Shadow Glen community, which is essentially a resort. You're HOA fees get you access to a massive amenity center with water slides, lap pools, and a fitness center. In Los Angeles, $500,000 bought you a 500 square foot tiny home. Here in the Austin area, it buys you a luxury home, a 2-car garage, and access to a water park. It represents the modern suburban boom. You get luxury and amenities provided you're willing to handle the commute. Next, we move to the New York City metro area. Now, there's a lot of ways to define where the boundaries of this video should be, but ultimately, the center of the universe is here in Manhattan. And because of that, finding a single-family detached house on the entire island is practically impossible. If there is one, it's an obscure mansion or something near the northern tip of the island, and those options will far exceed our $500,000 budget, so we have to look across the Hudson, which means crossing into New Jersey. Specifically, we're looking for any town that offers a reasonable commuter link to Manhattan and still has homes in our budget, and the one small town that consistently pops up is Kearny, New Jersey. Now, this is where the comparison gets real. Kearny is only about 10 miles from Midtown. Your best case commute by car is 25 minutes, but that's at 3 a.m. A real-world rush hour drive is brutal, expensive with tolls, and completely inconsistent. If you're relying on public transit, you're looking at a 45 to 55 minute trip door to door involving a bus transfer to a train or the path. That is the true cost of this price point. But you are getting a single family house, and this listing proves it. For $489,000, this is a classic brick single family residence built in 1950. It gives you 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, a finished basement, and a detached garage, a true self-contained house. It doesn't look like Texas-style luxury, but these are solid, modest homes that define the traditional Northeast working-class suburbs. Now, here's the massive catch that makes this $489,000 price point misleading: New Jersey property taxes. While the house is cheap considering its proximity to New York City, the annual property tax bill on this specific home is over $11,700 per year. That is nearly 4 times the annual property tax of most metros at this price point. So while you are close enough to commute to the center of the Western world, your monthly payment will be inflated by the state's high taxes. Finally, we are headed south to the place everyone seems to be moving to. We are trading the gray skies and high taxes of New Jersey for the humidity and sunshine of Tampa, Florida. For years, Florida was the cheat code of American real estate. It was cheap, sunny, and tax-friendly, but the secret has been out and the discount days are over. To find our budget here, we are looking in the Carrollwood area, a mature suburb about 20 minutes north of downtown Tampa and about 15 minutes from the airport. And here is the Florida reality check. Listed at $525,000, this house breaks our budget slightly, but it perfectly captures the current state of the Sunshine State market. This is a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom home built in 1986. In Ohio, $500,000 bought you a massive 2-story colonial. Here it buys you a single-story stucco ranch house. At just under 1,400 square feet, the house itself is actually quite small, smaller than the Ohio house and the Texas house by a long shot. But in Florida, you don't pay for the square footage inside the air conditioning, you pay for the square footage outside. Step through the sliding glass doors and you find the holy grail of Florida living, the cage. This is a massive screened-in area with a heated in-ground pool. In Austin, you paid HOA fees to share a pool with the neighborhood. Here, you have your own private oasis. The screen keeps the mosquitoes out and lets you live outdoors year-round, but there is a hidden gem in this listing that actually justifies the price tag somewhat. Just outside the pool area, there is a detached guest house. It's a studio setup that is perfect for a mother-in-law suite or a home office. Finding a legal, detached accessory unit at this price point is almost unheard of in 2025. In Tampa, you get less house than Ohio and an older house than Texas, but you get a pool, a guest house, sunshine beaches, and low taxes. You just have to be willing to trade the winter snow for the summer storms. So where does that leave us? We just toured the country and learned that $500,000 is highly volatile depending on the location. In Ohio and Texas, it's still the ticket to the traditional American dream, big square footage and modern amenities. In New York and LA, it's merely the cover charge just to get into the club. And in Florida, it's a lifestyle trade-off between sunshine and insurance premiums. The reality is the average American home price might be a single number, but the average American experience doesn't exist. You can have the space, the location, or the savings account, but in this market, you rarely get to keep all three. You have to decide which sacrifice you're willing to make. Now, I have a goal of my own. I am working hard to hit my first 1,000 subscribers, and if you enjoyed touring the country with me today, I'd love for you to be part of that milestone. It's a small click for you, but it makes a massive difference for this channel. Hit that subscribe button and let me know in the comments which one of these houses you would actually buy, and I'll see you in the next one.